And the opening ceremonies of the 1992 Kentucky Derby Festival, live from the riverfront in Louisville, Kentucky. Thunder Over Louisville is brought to you by the Kroger Company, with low prices on the everyday, every day. By United Parcel Service, the tightest ship in the shipping business. By Louis Rich, turkey like you'd make if you had the time. And by Kool-Aid. Having kids means having Kool-Aid soft drinks. Now, here are your hosts, Leah Bissig and John O'Connor.
This is it. This is the night we have all been waiting for. Welcome to Thunder Over Louisville 92. I'm Leah Bissig.
And I'm John O'Connor. We lucked out because the weather forecast earlier was calling for a little bit of rain, but the latest word we've been able to tell right now here is that if we get any rain at all, it may come around midnight tonight. So we have some nice warm temperatures, unlike last year. Nice and warm, a little bit of breeze off the waterfront there, and hundreds of thousands of people. Both sides of the rivers have been here most of the day and all the day's activities, of course, leading up to the big fireworks display that will start at 9 o'clock tonight. We are once again joining you from the third floor terrace of the Galt House. This is our stage tonight, but there's really not a bad seat in the house.
That's right. Of course, this is quite a bit different from last year when we had, what, a blanket on our legs under the table.
A drizzle, it was cold and wind. This is much, much better.
Of course, Thunder Over Louisville is the official kickoff of the Kentucky Derby Festival, which, by the way, is one of the largest civic celebrations of its kind in the world. John, I just want to know how we lucked out and got two of the best seats in the house for the second year in a row.
I tell you what, it's nice duty to pull for WHAS TV to be up here and take in the event from this vantage point. Of course, the big shebang's going to come at 9 o'clock tonight. We're talking about the fireworks display. We've told you it over and over again this week that this is the largest, will be the largest fireworks display in North America. Now, we can't confirm this, but we suspect that it very well could be the largest fireworks display anywhere in the world, and that should be something to see.
And don't worry, you folks at home are not going to miss a single thing. WHAS TV has 14 cameras stationed all over the Kentucky and Indiana shores of the Ohio River to bring you every angle and perspective possible of tonight's festivities. And you're seeing some of those right now.
Yes, indeed. We have this event covered, ladies and gentlemen, with all of our 14 cameras. And throughout our 90-minute broadcast tonight, before leading up to the fireworks at 9 o'clock, we'll recap for you some of the events that took place a little bit earlier today. Between 4 and 5 o'clock, there was a killer air show today. We had P-51 Mustangs, AT-6s in the sky. We've had some, just recently, about 35 minutes ago, we had some skydivers falling out of the sky. It was really something nice to see. Those guys were great. So you're going to see it all right here tonight. And as we did last year, the final 30 minutes of the show will be uninterrupted by commercial or co-host interruption. So the final 30 minutes, when the finale comes to pass, you'll see that in its entirety without us telling you about it.
Now, after what we saw last year, it's hard to imagine that anything could be any better, but that is what they have promised us here tonight. It's going to be bigger and better than last year.
This is, of course, the kickoff of the Kentucky Derby Festival. We started a week earlier this year. I was thinking today, Leah, you know, this being a 3-week-long celebration, a 3-week-long Kentucky Derby Festival, there's not too many communities anywhere in the country that can really boast a party like this. I thought, now, New Orleans puts on Mardi Gras every year, and that's a 2- or 3-week thing. But there really aren't any communities anywhere else in the country that can say we do this. When it comes to the Kentucky Derby Festival, let's face it, Kentuckiana knows how to throw a party, and what a kickoff tonight.
Finally learning that, huh, partner?
Yeah.
And, of course, 1992 is our bicentennial year, so everybody is ready to celebrate.
Derby Festival is gonna shine, shine. Oh, we're gonna cheer the bell on. Cheer the bell on. We're talking Chow Wagon time, you won't wanna go home. Just won't go home. See and hear and feel the thunder as it rocks and rolls over the city. I don't wanna be left out. It's time to scream and shout. Derby Festival, celebrate Kentucky. Celebrate. Oh. Celebrate Festival.
Yes, indeed, celebrate. It is official. The Kentucky Derby Festival is off and running, and Leah, over the next 3 weeks or so, there's going to be some good times to be had around here.
I'll say. And, of course, with Thunder Over Louisville starting a week earlier than it did last year, it just gives everybody an excuse to party for another week, I guess. I don't know.
I'm willing.
And, of course, speaking of party animals, right now let's check in with our very favorite party animals, starting with 84 WHAS Radio's Wayne Perky across the river.
6-year-old girl is waiting We're at Tobo and Annie's, floating restaurant in Jeffersonville, Indiana, where we've been enjoying the Airshow all afternoon with some folks who've had a great time watching all the spectacular parachuters and all the planes that have come by, and we are eagerly anticipating the upcoming fireworks. It's going to be a great show, and we have a fabulous view of the city of Louisville. Speaking of views, is that WHAS Television's Barry Burnson I see at the Chow Wagon?
Well, Wayne, I'm surprised you can see me through all the elephant ears and corn dogs over here on this side of the river. This is a pretty wild good time over here, as that individual just told us. If you saw last year's telecast, of course, you remember that I was out on the barge, out offshore here a little ways, and we were right under ground zero for Thunder Over Louisville. Well, you know, after I recovered my hearing, I asked the boss if maybe this year I could do something a little safer. Well, I don't know if this is any safer over here, because this is the only place you can drink beer on the riverfront, on the Louisville side anyway. But so I do have a different assignment. But if you want that shot from the camera shot from the river, our fearless photographer Donnie Ruark is in fact out there on the barge, and is going to bring you spectacular pictures of the 13,000 or so fireworks being shot off from out there. As for right here at the Chow Wagon, we're going to try to keep our clothes from catching on fire, and we'll try and find out from some of these people who are camped out here why they call it asphalt. Now up to Terry Miners in the Galt House Command Center.
Thank you very much. You know, when you go to an NCAA contest, say the Final Four or something, there's always some rich guy there who's got more money than you, and he can buy his way into the best seat in the house. You can't buy this ticket. It's a pass to get up here in the command center and get the most spectacular view of the whole show, which you'll be seeing on television if you can't make it up here. This is the brains of the whole operation. These guys are running an amazing system of computers that'll time the show through the evening. Wayne Hettinger's the producer, Tim Creed's the director, and they'll keep it all coordinated through the evening. Who knows, we might even have NASA land a space shuttle in this room before the night's over. The big moment comes at 9 o'clock tonight when I begged them all day long, but a 6-year-old boy, very special lad's going to come up here and actually get to push the button to start the fireworks. So from the Thunder Command Center, I'm tempted, but I'm resisting the temptation to push the button. Back to John and Leah.
Don't do it, Terry. I'm telling you right now, don't do it. Estimates of upwards of 500,000 people down here on the riverfront today to take in this event. People have been fighting traffic, fighting big crowds, but we have somebody who really made a big effort to get back here. Mayor Jerry Abramson was in Charlottesville today.
I was.
And you flew right back in to join us tonight.
You can't miss Thunder Over Louisville. It has now become the happening in this community. Just walking in here through the Galt House to get to this location, I met a person from Detroit, 2 from Chicago, 1 from Nashville, whose friends had said, you got to be here for the opening of the Derby Derby 3 weeks, which is what it's now become. And they're here for this weekend. Every hotel room is taken in the downtown, and there's a lot of excitement going on.
Did last year's numbers, it was the first one, everybody was, you know, just trying to figure out how it would work. Did those numbers kind of take the city by surprise? This year they've made a lot of improvements along.
It took our traffic people by surprise. But this time we're ready. We've got twice as many police officers. We're on every corner. When folks leave afterwards this evening, there'll be one-way streets going out of town to get everybody out. Southbound. Every intersection is got folks on it. We'll have people helping the cars get out of the police officers and traffic folks helping cars get out of the garages. I really think we're ready. Now,
We
call me tomorrow. Let me know how
talked
it
to
goes.
Deputy Chief Turner the other day, and I think that they definitely have it covered. You just mentioned that you saw people from Chicago, Detroit. This has become such a big deal. It's going to have to start generating, already has, but more national attention. Is there going to be a dividend for Louisville when people all over the country say, man, have you heard about that thing they're doing down there?
There's a lot of different levels of dividend. I mean, because now this year is going to be the largest of its kind anywhere in the United States. So that has the potential for an opportunity for national publicity. Then you go into the economic effect that it has. When folks come in, they take hotel rooms, they eat at the restaurants, they get gas at the gas stations, and it becomes a very positive aspect in that regard. But for those of us that are here every day of the year, it is the start of the greatest festival that America has. And, it's exciting that it all comes together and kicks off with this kind of an event.
I just want to know one thing. We have to go here. Are Sydney and Madeline here?
Sydney's watching, I hope. Sydney, I hope you're watching.
And the big show is yet to come.
Thanks.
Jerry, thanks for joining us.
Good to be with you.
Okay. Right now, a message from County Judge Dave Armstrong.
Hi, I'm Dave Armstrong, Jefferson County Judge, and we're in front of the Jefferson County Courthouse. And as you can tell, it's Derby time. Tonight's event kicks off a gala month of celebration. And Derby really means involvement by every citizen in this community. I hope you'll become involved, help celebrate our bicentennial this year, and also have the opportunity to welcome thousands upon thousands of visitors to our great community. Sit back, enjoy, Thunder Over Louisville tonight, and happy Derby.
Well, of course, Thunder Over Louisville 1991 was a huge success, but there have been a lot of improvements made for this year's event, and right now, Barry Burnson tells us more.
If last year's Thunder Over Louisville was the mother of all fireworks displays, this one's going to be a super mom. That's not only in terms of fireworks, but also in terms of people. How do you handle an audience of 500,000 folks? Well, first thing you worry about is crowd and traffic control. And if you've tried to drive or park near the Ohio River today, you know how the long arm of the law has been coming down. Listen to Deputy Louisville Police Chief Philip Turner.
A couple of reminders to folks coming down is that it's an all-day event, a lot of people. The biggest thing that we're asking for is a little patience here to enjoy a whole lot of activities over a long period of time, but to exercise some patience. Traffic on I-64 east and westbound right along the riverfront. So at 9 o'clock we'll start monitoring that physically. If the interstate system become congested where it would be a public safety issue, we will block the interstate system east and westbound on 64.
There's been an increase in police personnel of 75% over last year, some 350 officers from 5 departments to handle safety and security. There will be more first aid facilities this year, too. And food service will be increased tremendously, double the number of vendors at last year's Thunder. Besides the famous Derby Chow Wagon at Waterfront Park, there are food booths lining both banks of the Ohio River.
Primarily, we've concentrated on food and our porta potties, which we are fondly referring to as Thunder Pots. But we've tried to increase those services and place them maybe a little more strategically so it could maybe limit the crowd from having to move around as much as they did last year. That way, if you can hold a crowd in one place, you don't have as much of the shuffle and much of the bumping into each other as you get that kind of can get people irritated.
Yes, he said Thunder Pots. Show organizers have brought in virtually every available portable toilet from 3 states. Just one of the things you have to think about when you're putting together America's biggest fireworks show of the year.
Stay with us. The fun continues for hundreds of thousands of people down on the riverfront as Thunder Over Louisville continues.
Plus, we'll give you a look at the largest American flag ever flown under an aircraft. The fun rolls on as Thunder Over Louisville 92 continues after this.
There's a magic moment that happens only in May, only in Kentucky, when generations and tradition come together and are emblazoned in a coat of roses. Once again, the Kroger florists are proud to share in the tradition.
Each year, corporate America spends over $10 billion on overnight shipping. Yet, according to a report in the Wall Street Journal, $3 billion of that is wasted. If you find that kind of inefficiency alarming, call UPS. We can save you up to 40% on overnight deliveries and help prevent your profits from going up in smoke. UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
Oh, yeah.
People used to say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. My father, Louis Rich, thought it should be turkey.
To show you tonight, take a look at this. The largest American flag ever flown under an aircraft. Now, this is an interesting piece of work right here. It is actually a helicopter. Leah, what are the dimensions on this thing? Do we have any idea?
Now, we don't have the dimensions on the flag, but I wish we could maybe zoom down and show the weight. That is weighted down by a 600-pound weight that's made of concrete and steel. And it was funny, Wayne Hettinger, the producer of the show, was saying they had tried a 540-pound weight, 500, and finally, $600 was the ticket to keep it straight down.
Not $5.99, not $601, 600 pounds dead. It's funny because even from up here on the third floor terrace of the Galt House, we can hear the reaction of the crowd as the flag flies by. As a matter of fact, from your vantage point there of Sky 11, we're down here. It is literally flying right by us here on the third floor terrace, and I would suspect, I don't know, but that thing's really only about 400 or 500 feet off the ground, so it's an interesting sight to see.
It doesn't look like a 600-pound weight, but I swear.
It's nice because some of the numerous spotlights that we have out here, those World War II spotlights, are being able to hit that thing and reflect off of it. And again, it's obviously gets a nice reaction from the crowd here.
And John, if I can interrupt you, in that shot, you can barely see the barges at the very bottom of your screen, and it looks like they have moved into place or are in the process of moving into place for the fireworks.
It's kind of nice this year that we have a little bit of daylight savings time to do this with, because it's going to be getting dark shortly, but it's nice to be able to show you these images from the other side of the river back at the skyline of Louisville, because it kind of glistens there. It's a beautiful sight.
Don't see pictures like that too often. Well, we hate to leave this beautiful sight, but right now we're going to head upstairs. It's kind of a scary thought. Terry Miners is in the command center tonight, and we're going to check in with him right now.
I know this sounds frightening to you, Leah, but the brains of the whole operation are right in here, and somehow they let me inside this building. Wayne Hettinger and Tim Creed are running the whole show here tonight, and they've been sticking with this show for weeks on end now, trying to make sure that everything is coordinated. The computer system is so sophisticated that these guys can actually feed their dogs and pet their children by remote control right off these computer keyboards right through here. We have law enforcement officials scattered in the suite right across from us over here, plus fire officials too. And we had special passes just for them to get up here and get to this very special site on the 24th floor. And we did save 2 seats up here for FBI agents, but unfortunately they're busy working at the state legislature down in Frankfurt and sent their condolences in here tonight. Only one incident to report so far. I did talk to Chief Russell Sanders a few moments ago. Of course, we had that small fire problem earlier today when a P-51 strafed the Galt House right over here near the railings and burned our co-anchor, Leah Bissig's, lips, and that's why they're so fire red orange this evening. And she's such a trooper. She came in and did the job tonight anyway. Leah, those lips look outstanding. From Thunder Command Central, Terry Miners here for Thunder Over Louisville.
Yes, indeed, Terry. That is a big 10-4. It is amazing the number of people that have been brought together for this event. A lot of coordination between all kinds of people, not the least of which the police department, the EMS people, all of the food booths, just the production of this television show. So literally hundreds upon hundreds of people have been brought together, and all in concert to bring this thing off sort of without a hitch. So it really is a large event to kind of pull together.
The Thunder Over Louisville crew alone, and of course that's not counting the people doing the food or the policemen or anything. The Thunder Over Louisville crew alone is 1,200 guys. I mean, that's a lot of guys to put on this production, and Wayne Hettinger, the producer, told us earlier in the week it's like they've all been in their playroom for a couple of months. They're just having so much fun doing this. It's not a job for them. Well, as we told you earlier, Thunder Over Louisville is the official kickoff of the Kentucky Derby Festival, which has been around since 1956, when it consisted of one single event, the Pegasus Parade. Today, the Kentucky Derby Festival has grown into a whirlwind of 80 colorful events, attracting over 1.5 million people each year.
I've been invited to travel and see a few other festivals across the country, and we are so fortunate in this community. We have such huge community support for this festival. We don't have that in other cities. I mean, the festivals go on despite the community. Here, it's just great community involvement.
So great, in fact, that over 4,000 local people volunteer their services during the festival, for everything from handing out water to mini marathon runners to blowing up balloons.
Whatever your talent is, we can use you, and we want you. We really want, this is what makes the festival for the city of Louisville, because everybody's involved, and we can use your talent no matter what it is. And if you don't have any talents, we'll use you anyway.
In fact, the festival depends on these volunteers, since it's a non-profit organization.
40% comes from carpet sponsorships. 30% comes from the sale of our Pegasus pin for $1. And
the rest of the Kentucky Derby Festival's annual $3 million budget comes from Chow Wagon proceeds and event ticket sales. But remember, most festival events are free.
Over 60% of our events are free to the public, and that's really been the philosophy and the mandate of our board through the years, is to try to provide creative community entertainment at a very, very low price. Now, obviously, there are some things that you can't control on, but we try very hard to do.
In all, 80 fun-filled events will keep the River City hopping over a 12-day period.
I've been here since 1980, and everybody says, gee whiz, the festival's just exploded. You got all these events now. In reality, it's the same number of events. Our board is more or less decided through policy that we don't want to be much bigger than that. There's only so much you can do. So we're limited to about 80 events a year, and we hope to keep it in that range for a long time.
Over the course of the years, some events will come and some will go. But we'll still end up with about 80 events, including, of course, old favorites such as the mini marathon, the Pegasus Parade, the balloon race, and this year we'll see the return of the Bass Fishing Classic, brought back by popular demand. Okay, so now we know how these events impact our festival fun, but how do they impact the community dollar-wise?
Our economic impact study that we had commissioned, the latest one, which is very, very conservative, says that we generate $34.5 million into this economy in a 10-day period, and that does not count hotel rooms, restaurants, or any of those kinds of things. We didn't put those in the study, so it's probably a whole lot more than that.
And here are a couple of other facts about the Derby Festival that might surprise you. For instance, John, those white Cadillacs at the Derby Festival, people get to drive around and they
those nice caddies.
They each pay $300 for an insurance policy for those cars. The cars are donated, but they alone have to pay the insurance fees. Then they get the material for those jackets, but they have to pay to have the jackets made. Carol Hebel, the chairman of the board who you saw there, says they have to buy tickets for all the events. They're not just given those tickets. She says she estimates it cost her. She doesn't have a salary. She's not paid. It cost her about $2,000 to be the chairman of the board.
Is that right, out of her pocket?
That's right.
There's also a shilling or two raised down there at the Chow Wagon, and the fellow who has his finger on the pulse of all that activity is Signor Bernson down at the Chow Wagon, and we'll toss down to him. Barry, how's it going?
Well, so far, it's pretty interesting because we're getting an interesting group of people coming in here. I'm fully thundered right now, and the truth is that this is the only place you can drink beer, because the police have banned the use of alcoholic beverages almost everywhere in the downtown area except for the waterfront. And these folks are paying $5 a piece to come in here to Waterfront Park, which is just about ground zero for Thunder Over Louisville. And they expect to watch it from here, which will certainly be a great vantage point. Excuse me, you're with the Derby Festival. How's business so far?
Great.
Yeah, a lot of good folks coming in?
Yeah, I mean, as overall, they're pretty nice. I mean, you get the few that aren't real happy with the rules, but as a general rule, they're real nice people.
The rule that seems to be confusing a lot of people is you can take beer out of here only inside your body. You can't carry a cup of beer out, so people are a little bit upset about that. But everybody is pretty nicely, well, we'll just show you how happy everybody is, see? These folks think it may be time to do Ask Fred. So we'll be keeping an eye on them and everything else here at the waterfront. John and Leah?
Thanks, Barry. And right now, let's jump across the river and see what Wayne Perky's up to at Towboat Annie's.
Oh, we're just kind of kicked back and enjoyed the evening, actually. It's been a spectacular day. I mean, we could not have asked for a better day than it's been. Marty Jewett, you watched this on home on television last year, right?
Yeah, I certainly did, yeah.
Well, what talked you into coming down?
My wife, Gail.
Well, Gail had the right idea, didn't she?
Yeah, she got us the place here on the barge or the restaurant, and it's going to be beautiful.
Have you ever ridden a plane that does things like those PT-15s did?
Well, I grew up, my parents had airplanes. They both flew.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So you're accustomed to those spectacular rolls and
no, they didn't do that, no.
No, those acrobatics?
No. My mother did spins, but they didn't do any of that, no.
It's remarkable to watch, isn't it?
Oh, it was something. I love the P-51s that came through. I thought that was interesting.
Well, I would tell you that I think we have the best seat in the house. It looks like it's going to be spectacular. It's going to happen right above us. Do you love fireworks?
I love them, yeah.
And this is going to be different than what you saw on television last year, I promise you.
Oh, I never expected to be able to see it so well as it's going to be tonight.
Well, Marty and I are ready. We're kicked back and ready to go, guys. So let it happen. We're ready from Towboat Annie's. Wayne Perky on the north side of the river. Back to John and Leah.
Okay, Wayne, thank you very much. That guy is ready, and so are we. Of course, fireworks beginning at 9 o'clock tonight. You know, it takes a lot of cooperation and coordination between quite a few people on both sides of the river so that everybody can celebrate the Kentucky Derby Festival. Right now, a message from two of our friends in southern Indiana.
Hello, my name is Rick Dickman, and I'm president of the Clarksville Town Council.
Hi, I am Buddy Parker, and I'm the mayor of the city of Jeffersonville.
We're proud to be part of Thunder Over Louisville.
And we invite you to make Southern Indiana part of your Kentucky Derby festivities.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And when WHAS TV's coverage of Thunder Over Louisville continues, we'll give you a bird's-eye view of that fabulous air show that took place earlier today. Stay with us.
Louisville 92. Here are some folks kind of sitting back, relaxing as you are in your living rooms this evening and anxiously anticipating the fireworks that begin at straight up 9 o'clock.
And thank goodness the threat of thunderstorms is over. So everybody, actually, John, I don't think it scared too many people away. We got down here about 6 o'clock, and there were both sides of the river were totally packed with people.
The Belvedere was absolutely jammed. By about 6 o'clock, they absolutely had to stop letting people on the Belvedere. There were so many people on there. Actually, you know, we looked across the river and saw that there were some seats available, I think, on the other side on the bench. Yeah.
But, of course, thousands of people came down earlier today to take in the fabulous Thunder Over Louisville air show that got underway about 4 o'clock this afternoon, or 3. Right now, Wayne Perky introduces us to some of the air show daredevils from today's performance.
We're at Bowman Field, where all the aircraft for Saturday's spectacular air show have just landed. Together with parachutists and skydivers, it's going to be a fabulous display. 30 planes and 31 skydivers thrilled the crowd in the largest air show in Kentucky. The air show includes a wide variety of airplanes, from current military aircraft to vintage World War II planes to colorful biplanes. A new attraction to the Thunder Air Force is a group of gunfighter P-51 Mustangs, restored in their original 1944 fighting colors at Wormingford, England. Pilot Reg Ursler tells us more.
We're going to provide an array of different maneuvers. We're going to demonstrate some formation maneuvers which were used during the war. Some are not, some are unique. Then we're going to demonstrate fighter-bomber maneuvers, dive bombing and strafing maneuvers. Then we're going to do some photo passes for the crowd to take some photographs. Then I'll do some solo aerobatics, and then we'll finish off with a missing man formation in remembrance of all those who gave their lives. We feel this is very, very important. It represents a time in our country's history where we feel that it's important to reflect and remember what happened then and how close we potentially came to losing our freedom. So it's a living history lesson, and we enjoy sharing it with the public, again, because they like the airplanes, they like what they sound like, what they look like, and it's kind of a avocation for us. I often answer the question what it's like to fly that airplane. I tried for years using all the adjectives in my limited vocabulary trying to answer the question what it's like, and I finally came to the conclusion I can't. And I merely say now when I'm asked that question, I answer it by saying, if you feel it in your heart, you know, you don't have to ask the question. If you don't feel it in your heart, really, there's no way I can adequately describe what it's like to fly the P-51 Mustang.
Bill Leff and his Starfire night shows back to thrill the crowd with his fabulous nighttime air display. Bill's modified AT-6 actually shoots flames from the wingtips in an amazing pyrotechnic display. The skydiving exhibitions of Thunder are nothing short of incredible. Divers jump from 10,000 feet over the Louisville skyline and land on a 150 by 32-foot barge on the riverfront. Incidentally, 15 of the skydivers are from the Louisville area, and 2 female skydivers are part of the team.
A little bit earlier today, the air show did take place. We had P-51s in the sky, also AT-6s, and because of a little bit of wind, the skydivers couldn't get as early a start as they were supposed to, but by late in the afternoon, they were up. Here's a nice shot of some of those AT-6s that are up there. Those were trainers that they used to train people to fly the P-51s. Right now, these are the Eagle biplanes. They've got 3 pilots, Charlie Hilliard, Tom Pobernsky, and Gene Soucy. I hope I have those guys' names right. They've been flying together since 1971. The one guy quoted today, Gene Soucy, said, you know, some people get their kick sitting on a riverbank fishing. I prefer to fly upside down in my biplane. So there was a look that here as a lineup of the 5 P-51s. Interesting fact I heard on HES radio today. Back in like 59, I think, at a auction, you could have bought one of those for like $1,500 bucks. Now you want to buy one, try about $400,000 for one of those P-51 Mustangs. Travel in excess of 500 miles an hour. Quite an impressive aircraft.
We actually got a little bit of a break because I think some of the things might have been delayed. Oh, these guys were jumping right in front of us tonight. Some of it was delayed, and we had a great view right here from our seats.
It was really nice because These guys really were excellent today. We mentioned that there's a barge out there that they were supposed to land on.
And
this
they
one
did.
gentleman, Dale Gum, he came down. We were watching him closely, and watch this guy. He absolutely hits it right on the
There's
money.
a lot of anticipation when that's going on. Right now, let's head back to Wayne Perky over at, oh, look at that perfect picture land.
I'd like to, let me tell you, one of the great thrills of my life was flying with Reg Urschler in that P-51. And we did a loop, one of those where you come all back up, and I want to tell you, I'm still looking for my stomach. Another tip I'll pass along to you is that Bill Neff is an old Louisvillian. He flies that AT-6, the one will eschew all of those fireworks later on this evening. I mean, he does all kinds of crazy things with fireworks coming from that plane. And his partner, Dave, on the ground, operates it, all the fireworks from the shore. Bill simply says, I fly the plane. Old Louisville boy, he taught Dave how to say Louisville, and so they keep coming back because this is their favorite time of the year and favorite thing to do. Well, I would tell you, we're waiting for all that to happen. It looks like it's going to be a fabulous evening and a fabulous show. The best Thunder Over Louisville maybe ever, and it's just begun. Wayne Perky on the sunny side of Louisville.
I'd say Wayne has had a big afternoon, and he's got an even bigger night in store for him over there.
He's been doing double duty, working on the radio and also on the television show as well.
Well, stay tuned when WHAS TV's coverage of Thunder Over Louisville continues. We're going to take a behind-the-scenes look at our TV.
Plus, it's not enough that the skydivers jump out of the sky and land on the size of a postage stamp. Fireworks coming up here in just a few minutes. You know, we spend a lot of time paying a great deal of attention to the sights of Thunder Over Louisville, but an unbelievable amount of work goes into the sound of Thunder Over Louisville as well.
A big 375,000 watt sound, to be exact, distributed over 2 miles of shoreline. Now, there are 230 high-efficiency speakers placed in 27 remote locations, not to mention 5 miles of cable that had to be pulled.
Currently blasting out Michael Jackson at the as we speak right now.
That's right. I asked Tim Creed, who is the director of Thunder Over Louisville, how big a sound is 375,000 watts. It's just hard to imagine. And he talked about the Rolling Stones tour, which was supposed to have the best audio system going, and that was only an 80,000 watt system. So this is a big sound.
I only have about 50 watts a channel at my stereo at home, and my neighbors still complain. I can't imagine what they would have to say about a stereo system quite that big.
Also, John, they're doing something different with the speakers this year. I guess last year some of the people near the speakers got blasted away. So they are going to raise the speakers at a prescribed time tonight. I think just moments before the fireworks begin. Raise them up. They're on cranes so that the people nearby don't get blown away, but it'll provide a more even sound.
You know what? Something else that is very impressive as far as the sound is concerned, come showtime tonight, come fireworks showtime tonight, there is a soundtrack that goes along with that. And months ahead of time, that soundtrack is produced. It's sent to the fireworks people, the Zambelli International folks, and they are able to synchronize their fireworks display with the music. And here's a little bit of fireworks for us right now.
You don't need any music to enjoy this. This is the Comet Skydiver. Now this guy actually has pyro. He just jumped out of that plane. He has pyrotechnics on his, connected to his shoes or something, I guess. And it's like a comet coming out of the sky.
Interesting look from one of our fly cams right there. Yeah, helmet cam. This is a camera with a microwave unit strapped to the leg of the skydiver, and it's on an old football helmet, and that gives us our aerial view right there. And again, Comet Skydivers.
Now he's going to be landing on a barge in the river earlier this week when I heard that. I said, hopefully not the same barge with all the fireworks with those pyrotechnics on his feet, but...
Plus it's dark out there right now. I mean, when you look down at the water, it's just about pitch black, so it's going to be an interesting thing for those guys to land. And here's a look at Comet Skydivers. Take a look overhead, Leah. We are looking, of course, you're looking at your television
I was watching the monitor. I didn't know he was right above my
We're
head.
looking directly overhead, and the guy looks like one giant sparkler falling out of the sky. These skydivers absolutely have to be having the time of their lives because there's 31 of them, and a lot of them are making multiple jumps tonight. Earlier today, they were stacked 3 and 4 on top of one another, so these guys have to be having an absolute blast up there.
Earlier this week, Dale Gum, who is the coordinator of the Airshow, told me that from up in the air, those barges look like little postage stamps. I mean, I can't imagine doing it at night.
Interesting shot right here. Those guys have to imagine the view we get looking up at these guys is something. Imagine the view that they get right there. Of course, you're getting a little bit of it with our Skycam. It's quite an event for WHAS TV to stage this kind of 90-minute coverage. I can say, I think, with some assurance that just about every single employee of WHAS TV has had something to do with this broadcast tonight. And right now, we'll take you behind the scenes to give you a look at just what it takes to put Thunder on. Hundreds of people and thousands of man-hours are involved in the production of the 90-minute television coverage of Thunder. The third-floor terrace of the Galt House serves as our studio. And even though it's a great vantage point for all the action, the best seat in the house, so to speak, is in your house. 14 cameras positioned up and down both sides of the river and in the sky cover Thunder from every angle.
Thunder Over Louisville is a unique show for us. We use more cameras, and it's a more complex technical setup than any other show we do. More cameras than Derby, more than the Crusade for Children, more for the steamboat race, which is coming up here in a couple weeks.
The remote cameras, like those on the Indiana shoreline, send their signals back via microwave to our live truck below the Galt House on River Road. The air signal, in turn, is sent to our SAT truck and beamed via satellite back to WHAS TV. And part of WHAS TV's coverage of Thunder Over Louisville involves some highly specialized technology. As you can see, this is a specially designed helmet cam. We're actually calling this baby Fly Cam. It's this apparatus that one of the skydivers will strap himself into today to give us a look at what it's like to jump out of an airplane and fall to the ground at 120 miles an hour. You might recall we used this thing last year. I can tell you what it is, but I can't tell you how it works. To get the explanation, we'll talk to one of our engineers. Terry?
Hi, Don.
Hey, how's this gizmo work?
Oh, pretty good. The camera that you have on your helmet feeds a little transmitter down on this side, and then the jumper has an antenna that's mounted on his leg, and basically what happens is the signal is sent through microwave down to a receiving station down on the ground, then it's sent back to our live truck.
We've got Fly Cam, Sky Cam, Barge Cam, 18th Floor Cam, and 10 more cam to bring it all to your living room. And the guy who decides when you see what you see is director Jerry Drury.
And it's awesome. I mean, you really get wrapped up in it, and it's the moment of excitement, I guess, and anxiety that you go through to show people what's going on, because something is going on, and what is going on is big, and we got to make it in that perspective.
But much of what you see happens ahead of time. Just what the makeup of the show will be falls on the shoulders of show producer Mary Kay Fields.
It's a 90-minute show, approximately of which 30 is the fireworks. What we tried to do was make it informative for the viewers in that hour leading up, let them know how all this is pulled off, what goes into it, the preparations as far as fireworks and the sound system.
But when it gets right down to it, at least one part of the show happens all by itself. And the gentleman behind a lot of that artwork in the sky is George Boom Boom Zambelli, and it's a pleasure to meet you, sir, and have you on the program.
Love it. Thank you.
Guys put on thousands of fireworks displays all over the world every year. This is the biggest one. Is it a special thrill for you? I guess it has to be, really.
It grows. You love it more and more each time you do it.
Your dad started all this craziness back when?
And his father before that. It dates almost.
So you're the third generation.
Right, right.
I heard earlier in the week that you had clients, didn't you? You have clients tonight. You've rented rooms in the Galt House because you want your clients to see just what all you can do. Is that
right?
True?
Hey, it's America's largest, really. When you stop and think what the Statue of Liberty was, location per location, this is a bigger program than what occurred there.
You all did that show?
We were one of the three companies there, too. Right.
Do you look up in the sky when you see one of these and say, you know what, that Trillium should have been over here and that flying comet thing should have been over there, whatever you guys do.
And occasionally you swear, or you may say, wait a minute, I can't believe.
Is that how you got your name, Boom Boom?
That's it. Right.
Okay. We are anxiously anticipating the show tonight. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Love it.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
And right now, let's Harry Miners, who I know is up to something.
Oh, hi, everybody. How are you? I was looking out the window again. These nuts are landing on barges in the middle of the night. I figure they've had lobotomies sometime in the past here. They are going a little nuts, though. We're in the Thunder Command Center, and this is the brains of the whole operation. I spent a little time here yesterday, and it was the dream of all dreams. For 51 weeks out of the year, Suite 2400 here at the Galt House is simply another room with a view. But during Thunder Over Louisville week, all that changes. This is the command center for Thunder Over Louisville. From this station, every command for the largest fireworks and light show in the world is executed and monitored. However, the actual planning for the incredible show starts months ahead of time. The production of the half-hour music track that accompanies the fireworks is one of the first tasks undertaken. Producers strive to assemble a finished piece that includes a wide variety of music to please every age group, including rap, patriotic, and rock music. After the music track is completed, the fireworks choreography begins. The show producers, along with Zambelli International, carefully synchronize the explosions and bursts of fireworks to match the tempos and themes and emotions of the music track. The months of planning pay off in the hectic week before the show, when the Indiana and Kentucky shores of the Ohio River are prepared for the big event. This year, 12 fireworks barges, 4 more than last year, will be used to launch 12,700 bursts of fireworks used in the show. Because of the increase in the number of barges and fireworks, the width of the show will be 30% larger than last year. Michael Zambelli is in charge of making sure every single fireworks shell is in place and ready to fire for the big show.
We'll work right up until showtime. I mean, there are things that are necessary that we do on the day of the show, so we'll be out here every day until we set the show off on Saturday evening. Well, there's some new and special pattern shells that I have planned and programmed into the show, and I'm not going to say what they are because they're more or less a surprise.
Since much of the enjoyment of witnessing thunder lies in the ability of the audience to hear the soundtrack and announcements, 375,000 watts of sound will be delivered to the Thunder crowd through 178 high-efficiency speakers in 27 separate locations throughout Louisville and southern Indiana. Show director Tim Creed uses telephone lines, 5 miles of cable, and 3 microwave links to provide sound to each of the sound stations. 150 walkie-talkies and 35 cellular phones keep Tim in contact with the crews stationed throughout the riverfront.
But when 9 o'clock hits, all eyes will be on the skyline, and it's all controlled from right here. The fleet of 31 airplanes, 31 parachutists, 12,000 fireworks, and 375,000 watts of sound. Imagine being in charge of this awesome display. Total power, supreme importance. I could just imagine. Attention all Thunder personnel and Thunder spectators, this is your new commander, Terry. Get ready for the big show. Prepare the fireworks. Cue the music.
10, 9, 8.
You're the best, Mr.
7,
Manners.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Terry,
get away from those buttons.
Hey, get out of this chair. This is Wayne's World.
I don't know, Tim. Terry's a good guy. Maybe it'd be a good idea for him to run Thunder over Louisville this year.
Not.
Only Terry could get away with that. But I do understand it is enough to give people nightmares, the fact that he's up there, but I understand he's being watched very carefully.
No, we have somebody else special to push that button tonight. Here's a quick look, folks, at Bill Leff and the Starfire Night Show. This gentleman is piloting his Texan AT-6. This guy's been at it for 15 years. Bill Leff is a crowd pleaser with the Thunder Over Louisville crowd.
The crowd is excited out there. Now, an interesting fact that we learned is that the pyrotechnics coming out of the wings of the plane are actually done by remote control. He's not doing those. Last year, I thought he was doing those on the plane, but someone from down here on the ground is shooting those out.
I think he probably has enough to do up there piloting that AT-6. He's really had a number of distinctions. He performed at the first night game of the new Kaminsky Stadium for the White Sox. He also was part of Tammy Wynette's 4th of July concert and a number of other things, but he is a popular guy out here tonight. It is Starfire Night Show with Bill Leff.
He was a big favorite last year, and it sounds to me like he's another big favorite this year. Okay, right now we're going to head out and see what Wayne Perky's up to across the river in Indiana at Towboat Annie.
I will tell you this, Leah. When we watched him first go off, he went straight up into the sky, and he was looking like he was going all the way to the moon. He is spectacular. Vicki Byers is assistant coordinator and assistant chairman for Thunder Over Louisville. Vicki, you've been up and down the Indiana shore tonight.
Yes, not a lot tonight, but it's hard to get through the crowd. It looks like a shag carpet out there from this end of the river. Beautiful.
It really is a beautiful sight, isn't it? And lots of folks who are just having a good time.
Yes, and I think Derby Festival did a good job with the weather, don't you?
Yes, ma'am. My hat's off to you, that's for sure.
We're good.
Have you any idea how many people are along the Indiana shore?
Well, since we couldn't get very far, I'd say at least 100,000.
But that's a rough estimate.
Very rough estimate. I'm not good with numbers. I just know that our golf carts can't get very far anymore. We can't get anywhere right now.
Well, there are lots of folks here. They're all having a good time. I would like to tell you that this is the most relaxed atmosphere I could ever remember. But there was a kind of fever pitch of expectation because we're looking for big things tonight. And boy, Bill Neff is providing it right now. Back to you, Leah and John.
Okay, Wayne, thank you very much. Right now, let's check in with the gentleman who's in the land of elephant ears and corn dogs, our own Barry Burnson.
We're having a pretty fine time here at the Wagon because people have been here eating and consuming beverages of different kinds all day. But these folks right along in here got here so that they could be here early enough to get a good vantage point. How long have you been sitting around here?
About an hour.
About an hour or so, huh?
Yeah.
Now listen, one of the things that everybody does when there's fireworks displays, they go ooh and ah. So I want everybody to try this. We're going to practice oohing and ahhing. We're going to go ooh on the count of 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Ooh. No, it's got to be louder than that. It's doing ah. 1, 2, 3. Ah. That's better. We're getting warmed up, but these two guys are definitely ready. What are those things on your face?
The little glasses that when there's light, they make all these little rainbows.
Okay, rainbows it is. I'm going to show you how this works. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to be here for the whole thing. Back to you, John and Leah.
Okay, just a quick reminder here that the Chow Wagon is open tonight, but that is just for Thunder Over Louisville. It doesn't officially open until April 24th. Barry might have told you that, and we might have missed it, but that's an important point. You don't want to come down tomorrow for the Chow Wagon and find it closed.
And here's another quick shot of Bill Leff and his flaming AT6. We'll take a quick break and be back with more of Thunder Over Louisville 92, coming up after this.
Listen to the scissors cutting all around. Don't you love the sound of a price coming down? Listen to the scissors. Listen to the scissors. Don't you love the sound of a price coming down?
This week at Kroger, save on grain-fed choice whole boneless sirloin tip, just $1.78 a pound. And 3 one-pound packages of Imperial margarine quarters are just 99 cents. Plus a roll of high-dry towels is just 39 cents.
These extinct relics of American business remind us that waste and inefficiency don't pay. And that while perhaps it used to be impressive to throw money around, today it's more impressive not to. A timely reminder from the only company that guarantees 10:30 overnight delivery for up to 40% less. UPS.
Oh, yeah.
People used to say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. My father, Louis Rich, thought it should be turkey. He said his turkey was one of the best things you could eat that didn't grow on a tree. And everyone loved the taste. Slow roasted to make it tender and moist. We never called it health food, just good food.
At Louis Rich, great tasting turkey that's up to 97% fat-free is nothing new. It's how we've always done it. Slow roasted, like you would if you had the time.
I've been working here since the day they opened this place. Over the years, I've met a great number of nice people. Some of them will drop a card at Christmas. Of course, the horses get more cards than we do. If you come to Kentucky and you miss the horse park, you haven't been to Kentucky.
For travel information during Kentucky's bicentennial celebration, call 1-800-225-TRIP.
Welcome back live to Thunder Over Louisville 92.
And we are mere minutes away from the huge fireworks extravaganza, so we're going to head up to the command center with Terry Miners right now. Terry, what's up?
Leah, you're in command of that show, Louisville Tonight. I'm surprised you didn't draw this assignment. It's all here. It's nerve-wracking because this must be what it's like 5 minutes to midnight on Christmas Eve before Santa Claus leaves the workshop. Everybody's running around in a frenetic pace here trying to make sure everything's ready, except for one cool dude who refuses to be shaken in this moment, Wayne Hettinger, the producer. Everything on schedule?
How we doing? Are we doing okay?
You're about the most mellow guy in the whole world, and here you are sitting on top of all this power.
Look what I've got backing me up. I mean, this is one of your better days at the office, you know what I mean?
That's right. Is everything on schedule as you wanted?
Absolutely on schedule. We're 4 minutes and 18 seconds before the fireworks goes, and we got the Thundernator in place, and he's ready to go. He's cooler than I am.
I've noticed that the Thundernator is Daniel DeRocha, and he's going to be the 6-year-old who gets to push the button and actually start the fireworks in just a couple of moments. His finger has been buffed. He's ready to do his task and illuminate the skies for everybody throughout the area. Terry Miner's in the command center for Thunder Over Louisville.
And that is a gentleman who is in command, Terry. Thank you very much. You know, there has been quite a bit of talk about all the fireworks that are going to go off here in just a couple of minutes. Interesting stat that I read today, Leah. It took 6 tractor trailers to bring in all of the fireworks, roughly 12,500 pieces. If you put it all together, it would weigh about 23 tons, and that is just the pieces of fireworks.
And those fireworks will be packed in 1 million pounds of packing sand, I guess. You were out on the barge. What do they put them in, like little...
They have canisters. They have these steel, not canisters, but tubes. They have these big tubes that they pack it in, and then to make sure everything is solid, they put sand all around the boxes that the tubes are in, and it's something to see out there, I tell you what.
And another interesting point, I think, is last year the fireworks were shot off of only 8 barges. This year they've decided to use 12 200-foot barges because they thought last year maybe some of the fireworks were too close together. Everything was just sort of in a concentrated area. And so this year they will increase the aerial width of the fireworks show by 30% over last year.
Also, the shells that they put off with these fireworks range in size from about 4.5 inches in diameter to roughly 1.5 feet in diameter. Some of them weigh about 600, or I should say 60 pounds, and cost upwards of $4,000 or $5,000. But all that put together is going to add up to a big, big show coming up.
Uh-oh, here we go.
This is Thunder Over Louisville, Operations Control. The Safety Operations Officer has issued a clear and go. We are at T-minus 2 minutes.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, what we've all been waiting for, the big moment. The Kroger Company, United Parcel Service, Lewis Rich, and Kool-Aid are proud to present the opening ceremonies of the Kentucky Derby Festival. Thunder Over Louisville.
Hold tight, grab your friends. Something wonderful is about to happen.
From Thunder Operations Control, all sound stations are to switch to sub-channels and fire to Thunder level. T-minus 1 minute and mark.
We are all set. Here we go, our countdown to start up Thunder Over Louisville. Daniel, look up and say hi to everybody at home. You're the guy who gets the job that everybody wants.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Have you been nervous about this all week?
Yes.
Daniel's 6 years old. He's from Camp Quality, which is a camp for special children, and he is so excited about this. Have you been bragging to your friends all week?
Yeah.
This is the big one. They're all watching you. They want to make sure that when you push the big button, that all the fireworks let, except one thing I didn't tell you is I'm terrified of fireworks. Would you hold my hand? Here, hold this hand, and then use this hand to hold my hand. Can you start the fireworks with your nose? Will you be able to start them with... I want you to use your nose and start. Can you, oh, please, you got to hold my hand because I'm afraid of... Get ready. They're going to start the big countdown, and there's the button right there. You ready, buddy? Let's get ready. Countdown. There they go. 4, 3, 2, 4.
and the opening ceremonies of the 1992 Kentucky Derby Festival, live from the riverfront in Louisville, Kentucky. Thunder Over Louisville is brought to you by the Kroger Company, with low prices on the everyday, every day. By United Parcel Service, the tightest ship in the shipping business. By Louis Rich, turkey like you'd make if you had the time. And by Kool-Aid. Having kids means having Kool-Aid soft drinks. Now, here are your hosts, Leah Bissig and John O'Connor.
This is it. This is the night we have all been waiting for. Welcome to Thunder Over Louisville 92. I'm Leah Bissig.
And I'm John O'Connor. We lucked out because the weather forecast earlier was calling for a little bit of rain, but the latest word we've been able to tell right now here is that if we get any rain at all, it may come around midnight tonight. So we have some nice warm temperatures, unlike last year. Nice and warm, a little bit of breeze off the waterfront there, and hundreds of thousands of people. Both sides of the rivers have been here most of the day and all the day's activities, of course, leading up to the big fireworks display that will start at 9 o'clock tonight. We are once again joining you from the third floor terrace of the Galt House. This is our stage tonight, but there's really not a bad seat in the house.
That's right. Of course, this is quite a bit different from last year when we had, what, a blanket on our legs under the table.
A drizzle, it was cold and wind. This is much, much better.
Of course, Thunder Over Louisville is the official kickoff of the Kentucky Derby Festival, which, by the way, is one of the largest civic celebrations of its kind in the world. John, I just want to know how we lucked out and got two of the best seats in the house for the second year in a row.
I tell you what, it's nice duty to pull for WHAS TV to be up here and take in the event from this vantage point. Of course, the big shebang's going to come at 9 o'clock tonight. We're talking about the fireworks display. We've told you it over and over again this week that this is the largest, will be the largest fireworks display.
And the opening ceremonies of the 1992 Kentucky Derby Festival, live from the riverfront in Louisville, Kentucky. Thunder Over Louisville is brought to you by the Kroger Company, with low prices on the everyday, every day. By United Parcel Service, the tightest ship in the shipping business. By Louis Rich, turkey like you'd make if you had the time. And by Kool-Aid. Having kids means having Kool-Aid soft drinks. Now, here are your hosts, Leah Bissig and John O'Connor.
This is it. This is the night we have all been waiting for. Welcome to Thunder Over Louisville 92. I'm Leah Bissig.
And I'm John O'Connor. We lucked out because the weather forecast earlier was calling for a little bit of rain, but the latest word we've been able to tell right now here is that if we get any rain at all, it may come around midnight tonight. So we have some nice warm temperatures, unlike last year. Nice and warm, a little bit of breeze off the waterfront there, and hundreds of thousands of people. Both sides of the rivers have been here most of the day and all the day's activities, of course, leading up to the big fireworks display that will start at 9 o'clock tonight.
And the opening ceremonies of the 1992 Kentucky Derby Festival, live from the riverfront in Louisville, Kentucky. Thunder Over Louisville is brought to you by the Kroger Company, with low prices on the everyday, every day. By United Parcel Service, the tightest ship in the shipping business. By Louis Rich, turkey like you'd make if you had the time. And by Kool-Aid. Having kids means having Kool-Aid soft drinks. Now, here are your hosts, Leah Bissig and John O'Connor. And the opening ceremonies of the 1992 Kentucky Derby Festival, live from the riverfront in Louisville, Kentucky. Thunder Over Louisville is brought to you by the Kroger Company, with low prices on the everyday, every day. By United Parcel Service, the tightest ship in the shipping business. By Louis Rich, turkey like you'd make if you had the time. And by Kool-Aid. Having kids means having Kool-Aid soft drinks. Now, here are your hosts, Leah Bissig and John O'Connor.
This is it. This is the night we have all been waiting for. Welcome to Thunder Over Louisville 92. I'm Leah Bissig.
And I'm John O'Connor. We lucked out because the weather forecast earlier was calling for a little bit of rain, but the latest word we've been able to tell right now here is that if we get any rain at all, it may come around midnight tonight. So we have some nice warm temperatures, unlike last year. Nice and warm, a little bit of breeze off the waterfront there, and hundreds of thousands of people. Both sides of the rivers have been here most of the day and all the day's activities, of course, leading up to the big fireworks display that will start at 9 o'clock tonight. We are once again joining you from the third floor terrace of the Galt House. This is our stage tonight, but there's really not a bad seat in the house.
That's right. Of course, this is quite a bit different from last year when we had, what, a blanket on our legs under the table.
A drizzle, it was cold and wind. This is much, much better.
Of course, Thunder Over Louisville is the official kickoff of the Kentucky Derby Festival, which, by the way, is one of the largest civic celebrations of its kind in the world. John, I just want to know how we lucked out and got two of the best seats in the house for the second year in a row.
I tell you what, it's nice duty to pull for WHAS TV to be up here and take in the event from this vantage point. Of course, the big shebang's going to come at 9 o'clock tonight. We're talking about the fireworks display. We've told you over and over again this week that this is the largest, will be the largest fireworks display in North America. Now, we can't confirm this, but we suspect that it very well could be the largest fireworks display anywhere in the world, and that should be something to see.
And don't worry, you folks at home are not going to miss a single thing. WHAS TV has 14 cameras stationed all over the Kentucky and Indiana shores of the Ohio River to bring you every angle and perspective possible of tonight's festivities. And you're seeing some of those right now.
Yes, indeed. We have this event covered, ladies and gentlemen, with all of our 14 cameras. And throughout our 90-minute broadcast tonight, before leading up to the fireworks at 9 o'clock, we'll recap for you some of the events that took place a little bit earlier today. Between 4 and 5 o'clock, there was a killer air show today. We had P-51 Mustangs, AT-6s in the sky. We've had some, just recently, about 35 minutes ago, we had some skydivers falling out of the sky. It was really something nice to see. Those guys were great. So you're going to see it all right here tonight. And as we did last year, the final 30 minutes of the show will be uninterrupted by commercial or co-host interruption. So the final 30 minutes, when the finale comes to pass, you'll see that in its entirety without us telling you about it.
Now, after what we saw last year, it's hard to imagine that anything could be any better, but that is what they have promised us here tonight. It's going to be bigger and better than last year.
This is, of course, the kickoff of the Kentucky Derby Festival. We started a week earlier this year. I was thinking today, Leah, you know, this being a 3-week-long celebration, a 3-week-long Kentucky Derby Festival, there's not too many communities anywhere in the country that can really boast a party like this. I thought, now, New Orleans puts on Mardi Gras every year, and that's a 2- or 3-week thing. But there really aren't any communities anywhere else in the country that can say we do this. When it comes to the Kentucky Derby Festival, let's face it, Kentuckiana knows how to throw a party, and what a kickoff tonight.
Finally learning that, huh, partner?
Yeah.
And of course, 1992 is our bicentennial year, so everybody is ready to celebrate.
Derby Festival is gonna shine, shine. Oh, we're gonna cheer the bell on. Cheer the bell on. We're talking Chow Wagon time, you won't wanna go home. Just won't go home. See and hear and feel the thunder as
Derby Festival would like you to join in for a special salute to the bicentennial of the state of Kentucky.
time? Yeah, hey, that's all there is. That was the finale, friends. That was not Gargantua, friends. That was not the finale.
And now, the Kentucky Derby Festival, the Kroger Company, UPS, Louis Rich, and Kool-Aid are proud to present Gargantua.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the Kentucky Derby Festival. Now we'd like to let you know that we'd love to have you linger around at the food sites while while the traffic is clearing. We suggest you remain in the Chow Wagon or at any of the food sites. The Kroger Company, Kool-Aid, Lewis Rich, and UPS are proud to have brought you the opening ceremonies of the Kentucky Derby Festival.
Told us last year, the producer of the show, we asked him what sort of a rating he would give the show. He said, we said X, R, G. He said he would rate it GPO, General Public Outrageous. And I think he's done that for the second year now.
Absolutely unbelievable. 6 barges on this side of the bridge, 6 on that side. Both sides going off with the sparkling waterfall. I tell you what, I don't know. I guess you could sit and watch this for, I don't know, hours on end if you could actually pull off something like that. But
we certainly
really
had a fabulous view here on the Louisville side. Now let's head over to the Indiana side and check in with Wayne Perky.
I want to tell you, when it was over, Leah and John, everybody just kind of sat breathless for a minute and then suddenly erupted in applause and ovation. It's just been spectacular. One of the most phenomenal nights I think I've ever seen. And I want to tell you, my engineer, Larry Basinger, turned to me, was over and said, "That's what I want to do when I grow up." That's the way I feel, too. Back to Leah and John.
No doubt about it, Wayne. Really something to behold tonight on either side of the river. I especially enjoyed the shots from the air shots from the helicopter. And
it was interesting to see how the fact that they had spread out the barges this year gave it a different effect than last year. They sort of had a mirrored image on either side of the bridge this year, whereas last year was all sort of in one spot, so that gave it sort of a different look.
You know, we might be giving something away that we shouldn't have, but I noticed a little something that might be a trick for next year. They'll probably shoot me when I say this, but a great plan would be to be coming up I-64 right about 9 o'clock, because what happened is a lot of people pulled off the side of the road and got to see it from the comfort of their automobiles.
They were smart. They pulled over on 64 right when the fireworks were going on. They had that time to perfection. Obviously, the whole thing was planned to perfection tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been great. You had great seats, good seats as anybody here.
We enjoyed ourselves. We hope you did too. That wraps it up for us tonight from Thunder Over Louisville 92. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thunder Over Louisville and the opening ceremonies of the Kentucky Derby Festival were sponsored by Kroger.